Hey everybody, it's Joe with Joe Knows Cryptos. I'm back, and guys, I gotta say that none of this is financial advice. This is just my opinion. This is just straight talk from me. I know I've had a lot of followers in the past, and I kind of stopped doing my channel. Some of the reasons were I didn't think cryptos were going to do too much for a while. I try to be enthusiastic about it, but I couldn't. I don't like to give people false hope. However, I think things will be changing here shortly, but it's going to still be a little bit longer. Even though we're seeing a little pump in the market right now, we may have about in my opinion, the last 1 or 2, maybe 3, 4 days of the markets going up, and that counts for the stock exchanges as well. Right now, I think what's going on is they are pumping these markets up before the elections, hoping to get some of those people that are on the fence that are thinking, hey, you know, they're only kind of looking at the financial end of the two parties and what they, want to accomplish, and they're saying, hey, things are starting to come back. Maybe I should vote this way, or instead of voting the other way. And I think that's the only reason for these markets going up right now, because if you see or follow any of the economic news out there, it's pretty much all negative. I mean, the inflation is still sky high. They're raising interest rates, and no matter what they say about slowing it, even if they slow it to a 0.5 point, that's still raising the interest rates, which is still going to make housing, which is becoming very unaffordable and very difficult for people to buy right now, even more difficult. Every 0.5 point, every 1/4 point raise makes things more difficult for people to buy. This housing market, in my opinion, is on its last legs. We've seen weakness in places already. I think it's going down much further. One of the ways that I personally hedged against that is I've just recently bought a couple of stocks. One is called REK, and the other is called SRS. And those both short real estate. So if the real estate REITs go down, those should go up in turn. Now, why do I think that we're headed down? Well, I think it's pretty obvious by now, and I've made these videos in the past, but I've never made them to quite of the dramatic sense and plain, in your face reasons why, as I'm going to do today, and this is going to be an ongoing series. Okay, this is not just a one and done for me. So anyone who's been following the World Economic Forum, and they used to call it a New World Order, and all these other names, they have a way of changing names and rebranding the same idea to make you think that, oh, that idea died and that it's not still relevant or alive. That's an old thing that went out in the 1990s, that went out in 2010. But it's really just the same thing. They just give it a new name, a new organization, but it's still the same fundamental ideas behind it. And that is basically what they want to do. And what they usually do in these cycles that we're going through now is they inflate things, they make bubbles, things burst, the prices come down, the banks come in, scoop up a lot of foreclosures, a lot of these homes that are underwater, and they sit on them for a while, and then as the markets go back up, then they resell them back to people and make profits. Don't only make their money back on their original loan, but they make profits on it, right? This time, I think it's different, because they've gone to such extremes. And you got to hear me out now. You got to really listen and pay attention, because this is important. This is not, in my opinion, just another one of those cycles like we had in 2008 with the real estate bubble, or when that was at 98 or 2000 with the .com bubble. This one is going to be bigger and badder, not bad or good, bad or bad, for everyone. Now, it may not affect people that are very wealthy, as much, but it will affect them as well. And it's going to affect their families and friends. But, you know, this video is more meant for middle class people. It is actually meant for everybody because this is going to affect everybody. Terribly, actually. So what they've done is, first with real estate, we've seen the prices go sky high. They say it's because there's a housing shortage, right? Lumber prices were high, blah, 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 this, that, and the other thing. Irregardless of what excuse they give, the real estate market the prices are the highest they've ever been in the history of America, right? So they're at the point right now where houses are starting to become unaffordable for most people. Not everybody, but for most normal people. So now what are they going to do? They're going to raise the interest rates. And they're going to make it so that people who bought in within the last 2 to 3 years are going to have major problems. So what they're going to do is, when they raise these interest rates and the houses are already at these inflated prices, people are not going to be able to they're not going to be able to buy, or people with money are going to wait. They're going to see the prices coming down and they're going to wait to buy for a better opportunity. So as the real estate prices start to fall, and they're going to crash pretty much everywhere, in my opinion. There's going to be some places not affected, you know, as bad as others, but, you know, normally people need to sell a house to buy a house. So if you're in one of the states where people from California and up north and, you know, these places are moving to, if they can't sell their house in New York or California, then they can't buy yours. Now, that's not the case for everybody. Some of these people have buku bucks and they can buy multiple houses. Prices, you know, don't matter that much. They see a good deal, they figure it's a good deal, they're going to buy it. But to your people that are working individuals, what's going to happen next is, what did the Fed say? When are they going to think about cutting rates? They're going to think about cutting rates, and they said this flat out, when they see jobs, you know, when there's job openings. They said there's not enough unemployment right now. And we've seen the firings begin at, you know, Twitter and Facebook, but this isn't just going to be at big social tech companies. This is going to be a countrywide thing that happens. So people that are waiting to buy that house, or people that bought that house at the top of the market in the last, you know, 3 years or less, once they lose their jobs and they can't pay their mortgage, or they have trouble paying their mortgage, and now they can't sell their house because what they owe on their house is a lot more than what, you know, they bought it for. So we're going to have that same crunch again, where, you know, the banks are going to start taking houses in foreclosures and short sales, and, you know, people that walk away from their houses, and builders who start building homes, and you have these ghost neighborhoods that nobody lives in. But this time I believe the banks are going to take it all, and they're not going to sell it back to the people. And I say this because the World Economic Forum has flat out said, you will own nothing. Owning a house is one of the most privileged things that you can do. It's one of the biggest investments of your life, if not the biggest investment of your life. And it's something that gives people pride of ownership, something that they look, you know, forward to coming home to, something that they own. There's nothing like home ownership. If you've never owned a home, you may not know what I'm talking about, but anyone who's owned a home knows the difference between when they owned and they've rented, and the different feeling that they just have. They're accumulating wealth because as the homes normally go up in value, supposedly 3% a year, which doesn't seem to be the trend anymore. It seems like they go up 20, 30, 40, you know, 50% in a year for a few years, and then they drop equally quickly. Well, the 3% doesn't seem to be the trend anymore. So, but anyway, you could buy a house, you can watch it go up in value while you pay off the mortgage. Eventually you own the house outright, and when you retire, hopefully you don't have a mortgage to pay, and it just makes your life easier and lets you enjoy life a little bit more when you're past your prime working years. But this time, since the World Economic Forum has said you will own nothing, I believe they're going to take the houses this time and they're not going to sell them. They're just going to put them back up for rent. So you're going to be forced to be a renter. What advantages is that? Now, of course, there's still going to be people who own homes, but this is the beginning of the end, in my opinion, of their plan. They'll probably have other ways of taking people's homes as time goes on. Maybe raise taxes so high that you can't afford to own a home, or insurance rates so high that you can't afford to own a home, or they'll do some kind of a death tax on your home where you won't be able to pass it on to your children. They have creative ways, any way that they can imagine to steal your home from you, they will end up doing. And it's a shame. Now, we can stop them, but people, we got to pull together. We got to stop fighting with each other, disagreeing and arguing. We have to realize what's going on. And this election is important, but it's more than just elections, because it's more than just politics. So that's going to be part one. I don't want to make these videos too long, because then people don't want to click and watch a 30, 40, 50 minute video. Some people do, but as my back on YouTube video, this is the first one. We'll get into more into crypto and other investments you should be looking at, and other things that I think will be happening. All right. God bless each and every one of you, and kiss your wife, your girlfriend, hug your kids, pet your pets. Love you. Joe Knows Cryptos signing off.